right, guys, here we are on Incineration Zone, the starting map for round 1. Now the final map possibly for our Protoss player, unless he can get a win here. It is Complexity Minigun. And on the left side of the map, in the blue from the team, Check 6, up 2-0 in this match. He just needs to win this single game here to close out the series. It is Sleep, but this is going to be a pretty tough map for him, I think.
It is. Minigun certainly has some chances here. Although, of course, we remember back last week, this was the one map that Destiny actually won against Minigun. So
yeah, that was a weird game, but Destiny did manage to claim victory against Minigun. So Minigun searching for some PvZ redemption on Incineration Zone. Yeah. Because hey, if you can't win PvZ on Incineration Zone, how will you get any respect from your Protoss friends at school, huh?
I suppose all of my Protoss friends at school, man,
think about it. They will make fun of you.
Yeah. You don't want that.
They'll be like, my parents bought me this expensive car. You just drive that old one that you worked hard for.
Standard 1 minute, 25-second probe inside of Sleep's base. I do love Incineration Zone.
It's so standard.
Yes.
So last time we saw Sleep actually go for one base roach aggression on this map. So I would say that he may have learned his lesson in that it might not be the best idea.
Yeah, WBC four-gated him, if we remember way back when, 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
That was Violet, actually. I keep getting those confused, too, but WBC played Violet.
He did play Violet, not Sleep.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting it confused as well.
Tisk.
All these Zergs winning so much, you know. I mean, what can you do?
Well,
what can you do? Really?
You know, we already know in the round of 4, of course, we do have one Terran player through in Vile Illusion.
That's right.
But there weren't that many Terran players who made it through to the second round. Of course, we still have QXE versus State, so another Terran hope
coming up later today.
Yeah,
that's right. So yeah, the Terrans, don't get too down on yourself, Terran fans out there. There's still a chance we could have 2 Terrans.
And for the Terran haters out there, haha, see, it wasn't going to be a Terran-biased set. Boom.
Yeah. Well, these maps are good for Terran, of course, but I think players have just, you know, the game has just evolved to a certain extent where it's not so much about the maps again anymore. It's about the players. And even though maps obviously do have an impact, I legitimately think it's less of one than it was before. This tournament is actually, well, it's been really entertaining, but it's also been really, really interesting to see just how, like, the current metagame, the current strategies, the current pros kind of handle these old maps. I've really, really liked it. From a scientific standpoint, of course.
Oh, yes. No.
Purely scientific.
Full science.
We're all about science here at IPL.
That's true.
That's right.
And my degree is the furthest from science possible, so it's okay.
Science.
Yes. All right, so let's see here now. Is Minigun going to make his way back in? He does see gas. He saw his opponent pulled off of that, so he can suspect the 100 was saved for Zergling speed. We can see back on Minigun's side of things, he's taking precautionary measures, of course, with the pylon sitting next to the destructible rocks behind his main, but has not really tipped his hand as to what his tech is going to be, if it's going to be more sentries coming up, another 3-gate sentry expand of some sort, or whether he's going to move into Robotech pretty soon.
Robotech.
That's
an old show.
Is that, well, he's actually sitting here waiting for 200, and it is Robo.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You can obviously expand off of this, but you can also go for a pretty strong Gateway Forge timing, if you like, or Gateway Robo timing, I'm sorry, that we used to see a lot back in the day. 2 Gateways and a Robo. Pretty much effective in every matchup for Protoss. Excuse me. Just because of the prevalence of early roach play that Zergs would bring at their opponents back in the day. I mean, a lot of people are just going Immortal Stalker, and it worked pretty well. So Minigun might do that. Might have something a little bit different in mind. We'll have to kind of wait and see. He's throwing down another gateway right now. In the meantime, Sleep's hatchery getting pretty close to completion. He's already got Ling speed, so he's going to be in a great position to kind of make sure that he's getting scouting done, making sure he's looking for those forward pylons.
Right.
Yeah.
And he actually is going to make another 10 Lings, so this is a pretty significant amount of Zerglings out on the field. Continuing to produce those, as a matter of fact, off of just 18 drones, so looks like he may want to try and overwhelm his opponent in just a bit. There is an Evolution Chamber coming down. We'll see if he goes back to mining gas so we can get some sort of Carapace upgrade or something out there.
Those Lings in position for a counterattack. This is reminding me of like a PvZ on Zelnaga Caverns from back in the day. You know, you'd always have that little group of Lings sitting out there for the counterattack. They would run in, check to see if they could test and maybe get a Nexus cancel, something like that.
Yeah.
And, Sleep having to call on some eldritch knowledge from the past of StarCraft 2.
Yes. We'll see. That would have been a cool map, too. Zelnaga Caverns. Been a while, though. I mean, that one was around forever.
Yeah, that's a little bit too new, a little bit too usable, I would say, to really.
Too usable. I mean,
it's too usable in like more
I know what you mean.
common term of play.
Let's see here,
We'll
though.
think of other crazy things to do, though. Don't you worry. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it, Kevin.
4-gate Robo now for Mr. Minigun. Of course, he has a probe out in the front. That's not going to do anything for a bit. Sleep does see that, though, but he himself is just producing a massive amount of Zerglings.
Zerglings.
He wants to crush an attack that comes out and crush it immediately.
Immortals are not going to do terribly well against those.
Nope.
Yeah, and actually, Sleep could run just a couple groups in, force all the force fields out,
and looks like he is going to
overwhelm.
Start taking out those destructible rocks, though. Certainly a good decision on his part, as he will be able to counterattack when the time comes, if he so desires. But, as we can see, Sleep, starting to float quite a bit of resources. Probably needs a macro hatch at some point if he's going to do nothing but make lings, but he's going to try and make his way out now.
It's a trap.
Yes, it is. Minigun's going to need absolutely perfect force fields, 100%. Actually ends up trapping a lot of his own units in, and these reinforcements are going to get picked up very, very quickly.
Yeah, the nice thing, too, for Sleep is that he can just continue to make Minigun use energy, and does he even have any left? He's only got 2 sentries, only enough for 1 force field.
Yeah.
This entire army could die right here. In fact, it probably will. The Immortals not lasting for too long. Getting through more links than I thought he would, honestly, but
yeah, I mean, especially being able to deflect that first round of Zerglings is pretty big for him, but the Zerglings are eventually going to just purely overwhelm this. And Minigun now has lost a lot of the brute force of his army, doing nothing but warping in massive amounts of zealots afterwards.
When you lose 3 Immortals and you're only on 1 base, that's the time to type out GG well played, apparently, and